So, yeah. So I'll do a short little cold open.
Let me know when I'm allowed to talk.
Yeah. So I'm trying to think of what.
I suck at intros too.
You suck at intros?
I don't know about you,
yeah.
but awful.
Yeah.
I've done a few interviews on my YouTube channel.
Yeah.
And it's just awful. I should walk in with a script.
Yeah.
But for some reason I feel more comfortable winging it. And then it just
and
falls.
then that first part is tough, but once you get over the hump, you're good.
Once the intro's done.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, it feels fake, like saying who somebody is, and I don't know, it just doesn't feel genuine, but just talking feels genuine. You know?
So I'm pretty much just going to say this is Justin Prime.
Yeah.
And I'll ask you what we're talking about today.
Okay.
And then I'll say on this episode graphic content. That'll be our intro.
Okay.
How's it going, Justin?
It's going really well. I'm super happy to be here today.
Yeah, me too. So, Justin, I'm here. We're hanging out. What are we talking about?
Awkward intros.
Awkward intros? That's good.
No,
because we have those.
We do, yeah. Well, so we're gonna bypass that altogether and jump straight into it, I guess. We're talking about partially my Kickstarter. I guess whatever else comes up. I have issue 2. The Kickstarter is launching on Wednesday. That's November 1st. For my second issue of Skulldier Stories 4 Echo. So that's kind of what brought us together, and whatever happens from there, I don't know.
Okay. So, Justin, what got you into Skulldier Stories?
That's actually, sadly to say, it's not totally my idea. My younger brother is this just tremendous, he's like inspiration. He's constantly, his ideas are just like, it's never ending. Like, he always has these really cool ideas. And I was at a point 3 years ago maybe where I thought, you know what, I had my son, my second child, and I realized how limited my time was. And because, you know, like a newborn, it's like the time wise, there's not much of it. So I was drawing in like bursts of like 20 minutes here and there. And before that, I had like a whole night, or I'd be able to count on sleep and whatnot. So I realized, like, wow, I have like a very, very small amount of time. I better make this count. And I decided, like, I'm gonna make my own little comic, or at least pages for a portfolio. That was what I was aiming after. But then I was like, I have no ideas. There was no characters. I didn't want to do a traditional superhero kind of thing. I didn't want to audition for Spider-Man exactly. And I was like racking my brain about it. And I was like, oh yeah, Jeff, my brother. Like, I could hit him up and he'll have shit just pouring out, you know. And so he had shown me this thing called mixed martial animals, which is...
Wait. So is this what I think it is?
What?
Like mixed martial animals. Are we talking like MMA with animals?
It's that. Well, that it's kind. It would be like Kung Fu Panda.
Okay.
Where there's a world of animals, and there was a rhino, ostrich, I think, a bunny, and something else.
And did he create this?
Yeah, this is all him.
Okay.
But it was not finished. Like, he didn't have names for the characters. He had the loose idea of a story and had written it out, but it wasn't in script form. But he had these really cool things called Skulldiers in him. And these were like these enemies that came from Earth to attack this planet of animals, right? So I was like, okay, I can't do this animal thing because it's not ready yet. But I love that Skulldier character. He had this really cool design. The initial design, I wish I still had it, but was very similar to my design. And I was like, can I have your permission to take that Skulldier character, and I want to do just like a 10-page comic. And so if you read issue 1, there's about 10 pages in between.
Is that where the half issue comes in?
No, that was a whole separate thing.
Okay, that was okay.
Yeah. So he said, yeah, go ahead and use it. That's fine. And so I did 10 pages, and I still didn't have a story though. So what I did was I looked up Creative Commons, like stories, just old stories that are free that you won't get penalized for creating, And I was looking through stuff like poems. I had something kind of short, and I found this thing called the Jabberwocky from Alice in Wonderland.
Oh, okay.
And so issue 1 has the Jabberwocky poem in it, set to my characters, which fits the storyline.
Oh, nice.
So originally it was Skulldier Stories was just I loved the Skulldier character from my brother, and plus Jabberwocky from Lewis Carroll is the author. And what my goal was I just want to have fun with it. I just wanted to
That's
kind of
the perfect goal for comics.
Yeah, right. I guess so. Yeah, I suck at buildings. I suck at perspective, and I might be good at it, but I hate doing it so much that I don't even want to bother. Which kind of, limits me as far as what I'll be able to accomplish as an artist probably. But I was like, I'm gonna do 10 pages of something I know I can knock out of the park. So it was a guy in a cool mask, with nature kind of surroundings and stuff. And a dragon monster kind of character, the Jabberwocky. So it was really just me pushing my strengths and having a ton of fun. And then I realized how much fun it was, and I'm like, I can't leave it at this. So he gave me permission to kind of develop it further, and all of a sudden I have 6 issues written. So issue 1 I extended, and then 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 are completely written. Issue 2 is now totally done and ready to be printed. Yeah, ready to be printed. I just need the funding for it.
So, what is your funding goal for
The
issue
amount?
2? Yeah.
Right now, I think I have it at 2,530, but I think I can drop it. Last time I did Kickstarter before for issue 1, and the goal was I want to say 2,650, something like that. And we met that plus $500.
Oh, nice.
Something like that. So yeah, it was really tight. Kickstarter is very nerve-wracking. I don't know if you have an experience with it.
I have too much experience with it.
Do you? With buying or with running one?
Running one.
Oh, right on.
I was a Kickstarter OG about 7-8 years ago.
Oh wow.
And it was a bad experience. And it wasn't at the time. It was so much the everything after was a bad experience.
Oh really?
Yeah. So
for me, it was all the prep work, which this time I took. I've been working on it for a couple months now. I know how much work goes into it.
Yeah.
For a couple months, and I'm still not totally done, which sucks because now it's crunch time. But I spread it out. I paced myself. But with Kickstarter, the first week or so is maybe the first few days is that's when you really flood.
Yeah.
People are buying then, and then there's this drought. And then right at the end,
yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
And people had warned me about that.
Yeah.
And it hit me. So at first it was I was right on pace, then all of a sudden it stopped, and I was like, it's not going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And then the last few days, all of a sudden, people thought it was a good idea or whatever, and started backing.
It's one of those things oh crap, this isn't going to happen unless we make it happen. Let's go make this happen.
Yeah. And I definitely amped up my, I had kind of given up in the middle. And I was like, no, I gotta take this seriously, and really keeping people interested throughout. It's very time consuming. The whole thing is very time consuming.
Yeah.
So this time around,
well, it sounds like the prep, a lot of this is in the prep work. I didn't know that going into mine.
Yeah.
We just went in, we had all these great ideas, and then thought, well, we'll just execute it once it's done, and that was a lot easier said than done. So it sounds like to me with the prep work, you've kind of got a lot of that nerve-wracking stuff that for me came after done ahead of time.
Yeah, I think so. And then once it was completed, everything was ready to go. Yeah, so I all the stuff the stickers, the book, the shirt designs, everything's ready to go. And it's sitting there pending. There's a website called Sticker App. Everything's uploaded and ready to go. The t-shirts I'm getting through something or other, and it's ready to go. I just need the funding for it. So everything, all that stuff after the Kickstarter's over, I feel that'll go pretty quickly.
Nice.
Yeah, and I've even all that stuff's planned out to make my life as smooth as possible. It's the stuff before and the stuff during, keeping people engaged and interested. So I have some stuff planned out semi-planned out doing a Skulldier design contest. And see if people want to submit Skulldier designs, and whoever wins gets, I don't know what yet, but just that's something to keep momentum and get people sharing about it and talking about it, and hopefully that'll help. I think it helped last time I did a lot of that, and it seemed to help out a lot.
Yeah. I figure sneaking in a panel into issue 3 or something like that with that person's design or something. That'd be pretty cool.
There's I can't promise that, but that can definitely happen because I have my 6 issues written, but I have all these side issues as kind of like the half one, like you read that half issue.
Okay, yeah.
There's also these half issues that I have for my main characters, but these half issues or these 6-page things, like I can bust those out, at least in written form pretty quickly. So if someone does win, yeah, I could do like a short comic. That's actually not a bad idea. Thank you for that.
Yeah. So I noticed in the half issue, it was all black and white.
Yeah.
Except for, I want to say the captions and all that was all in color, correct?
Yeah, Nick's was in black and then Penelope's in red. Yeah.
That's right. And then, so is that going to be the basic structure of the issue?
No. Issue 1 and issue 2 are full color.
Okay.
The half issues was just kind of like, I just wanted to get an extra story out there. It's like a bonus. The way I look at it. It goes into the main, like Nick's is the main character in issue 1. So in the half issue, we learn more about him and kind of why he hates Elic, the Earth-in-Law Interplanetary Command. It's like the off-world military wing or whatever. So we learn more about him and why he detests them so much. And there's also, these give me opportunities to sprinkle in little story elements that will pop up like way later on.
Okay.
So I'm...
The whole foreshadowing thing?
There's lots of it there, and because all I do is think about this, like all I think about my story and how the psychic abilities work and how the weapon works and exactly what it is and all this, because I just think about it constantly. But comics take a long time to make, so I can't make them all.
Well, especially when you're talking about having a small kid.
Yeah.
And you've already got another kid that...
8-year-old,
yeah. Yeah, and so I can imagine that just being a dad it can be a full-time job in and of itself, not to mention the paying stuff, the paying job. And I know you take commissions through your Instagram and all
every now and then, not too often, because I want to have the most time I can for Skulldiers. Luckily, like, I have a career and I love my job and it pays well. So doing Skulldiers is, I'm not dependent on making money through art. I like to, and that's how I buy stuff like my laptop now. But I'm not dependent on it, so that's where I do have some freedom in what I choose.
Okay.
So I can turn away commissions, and I can say like, no, I'm going to focus just on Skulldiers, which is kind of what I want to do at this point. Like I used to do conventions a few times a year, and I stopped doing those entirely.
Oh wow!
I love conventions, but it takes away time from the family. Adds a lot of stress to me, and it takes away a lot of time from working on the comic because conventions take months to prepare. I mean, it's a lot, not months, but a month or 2 to prepare. Like it's a long process.
Yeah, I mean, there's constantly, not constant. Often enough, you'll see people just straight drop out of a convention for deadline issues.
Oh yeah,
and that's pretty common. You'll get 1 or 2 artists or something like that. I know a couple years ago, Drew Johnson dropped out of Stockton Con because he was like, I got deadlines coming up.
Really?
I can't. Yeah. And so, I mean, I get it. Being an artist, it's a time-consuming thing.
Yeah. And so for me, it's like, there's no deadlines. There's no one's going to like, yell at me for being late with something. It's just, I really want to work on my comic. I'm having a blast. It's genuinely fun. And I've found that I need that creative outlet to be sane. And I've really discovered now I like the storytelling aspect of it. Because up until this, I was drawing fan art over and over and over again, which was fun. But I found myself getting bored, and I didn't know why. And then that's when I was like, I need to create something now. I can draw well enough. Now I need to create my own thing, And once I tapped into that, like it's just unlocked the storytelling part of it. I love the world building. I'm really enjoying that. I'm loving that part.
Now you had, you just slap me if I say now, because that's like one of my worst habits is I'll say now, just slap me next time I say it. With this, you talked about building up kind of your skills as an artist.
Yeah.
At what point did you develop confidence in the writing end of things?
That's a really good question. I don't know. I think I've just been having so much fun with it. I don't care. honestly, like
that's perfect.
I've never thought about that. It's like I'm really enjoying it, and I've let a few people read my stuff, and they said it was good. But honestly, I like it. I'm enjoying it. It's really like, this is for me. Honestly, I like sharing it. And I like getting feedback and making people happy, hopefully. But really, it's my story, my characters. It's really for me. Like,
honestly, I feel like that's what makes the best comics.
It's crazy, yeah.
When you can make those comics for you, then it's hard to beat that.
Yeah, and I think that's probably true in any medium. You know what I mean? Like when a comedian first tries to make themselves laugh, then people, I think, follow after that. So this is where, I think, especially with the writing part, it's like I'm just kind of doing this for me. It's really fun. I love the emotions of my characters and the storylines and the history. I have this huge timeline I've developed. I have no idea if I'll ever get to doing everything. But I have this Google Doc of about 100 years worth of history for my characters and where the story's going.
Wow.
It's getting pretty ridiculous, yeah.
Well, that's perfect, especially if you're looking to, at some point later down the road, incorporate people. Like, the first thing that springs to mind is, like, Mike Mignola and Hellboy, and how that universe has gotten just insane.
Has it?
All the side stories.
I don't follow that at all. I read the old stuff.
Yeah, like...
But I don't know currently where it's at.
All of that stuff, like, they've done a mini-series or an ongoing series on a bunch of those characters.
Really?
Yeah, and then not only that, they've started doing Hellboy in the Bprd, and they've set it like back in the 50s and 40s.
Oh yeah, I heard about that. Okay.
And so, I mean, that universe is just constantly offshooting, and they'll have offshoots of offshoots and all this crazy stuff. So whenever you were like, 100 years worth, that was the first thing that sprung to my mind.
I think about that a lot, and I even have a mental list in my head of what artists I would love to see doing what. And I think a natural fit would be to hire someone to do those side issues, because artists are expensive.
Oh yes.
But paying them to do a side issue might be doable, but it still is a lot of money. But that's something I think about a lot. Is like I really want to handle the writing part of it, but I know there's artists I can trust out there to handle bringing it to life.
Yeah.
And maybe even a certain story might not fit my style as well as it might fit somebody else's. So. Yeah, hiring someone to do those kind of things and then building it into like an anthology and doing a Kickstarter for that. Yeah, that's definitely a loose plan or idea of mine.
Yeah, later down the line.
Yeah, I mean, I want to get everything out as soon as I can, so I'd love to do it tomorrow, but realistically, I don't think it's going to happen for a little bit.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Well, I know you got these 6 issues you're trying to build up. Now, are you going to do a Kickstarter for all 6 issues, or after issue 3, are you going to do 3 through 6?
It's funny you ask. I don't know. I thought I would do each issue individually. After the first Kickstarter, I swore off I would never do a Kickstarter again because it kicked my ass.
Yes.
I mean, it was just brutal. But a year went by and I'm like, I could do it again.
It's funny how hindsight will just be like, that wasn't that bad.
It really is, yeah. So I think I'll do it for issue 3. But yeah, 4 through 6. So 1, 2, and 3 is where we meet the team. 4 through 6 is where we see what happens after the team gets together on 4. So issue 3 will have 2 more Skulldiers to add to the mix. Issue 1 is Nyx, issue 2 is Misako, and issue 3 will be these twins, Lance and Annie. So
1, 2, and 3 are kind of like almost one-shot issues?
Yeah.
Okay.
They can stand alone on their own, but I mean, obviously they're supposed to, kind of like the Avengers build-up, in Wave 1 of MCU.
Okay.
Where it's like, you can watch Iron Man by itself, but really the benefit is it connects to the other ones, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, the issues 1 through 3 you could read by themselves and get to know the character, and that's that. And then 4, 5, and 6, really that is one larger storyline that could exist on its own. So I don't know. I don't know if I want to kind of just do all those and maybe do Kickstarter for like a graphic novel size kind of thing, I don't know yet.
So, well, that's the nice thing about it being yours is you can, plans can change, you can shape things as they go.
Yeah. Yeah, so that is something that I've thought of. I'm glad you brought that up. I'll figure it out when I get there.
Yeah. I'm a process nerd, so that's a lot of, whenever I think about, it's funny because I'll read a comic and in the middle of it I'll be like, did they do XYZ when they were making this?
Yeah.
And that's a lot of fun for me, but at the heart of it, you've developed these characters.
Yeah.
What's been the biggest inspiration behind driving those characters outside of course the visual aspect?
I don't want to get too far into this, but I'm not like a social justice kind of person. But I didn't want each character to be the same either. So I have Nyx is the bratty little white kid, basically. Masako is this, she's Japanese, older. She walks in like a shuffle, like her feet are like...
So when we're talking older, we're like senior citizen?
She's like 50-ish.
Okay.
Like 56.
Almost a senior citizen.
Yeah, she's getting there. And then the twins are 30-something-year-olds. They're African American. I think they're going to be from England, somewhere around there. I want them to have like a British accent or something. So I wanted them to be from different backgrounds, But really, that's just kind of visually more, I guess. Storyline wise, I'm not sure how much that's going to add to it. But really, what drives the character is my career. I'm a therapist. I work with kids and families and parents, doing mental health kind of stuff.
Oh, okay.
So I have this pool of like emotional content, and I would never take someone's story and put it in my story. But the emotional stuff of it.
Well, it's almost like you can't, when you're that entrenched in something like that. Exactly. It's almost like it becomes a part of you to where you can't not.
Yeah, right. And so I would never steal someone's life history, but as a therapist, you get to know people on a very deep emotional level. So that's a big part of all my characters. Now, issues 1, 2, and 3, I don't go too deep into it, but it's more of the side issues. So with Nyx in side issue, one half, we learn about him and his relationship with Penelope, and also about his relationship with his parents and being ripped away from them by the Earthen government, Earthen law, and then being ripped away from Penelope, and then at the end of it we learn that he's going to Fora. That's not really a spoiler, who cares? And so we learn that he's being ripped away from everything and being sent off to 4 Echo.
Okay, so 4 Echo is
it's a planet.
Okay, is it kind of like to use like a Star Wars analogy, is that kind of like the Empire?
No, 4 Echo is a planet.
Okay.
There's his ship is named Madeline, or the AI on the ship is named Madeline. So they go off. So there's 3 planets. There's 2 Echo, 3 Echo, and 4 Echo. They're named Echo because they're very similar to Earth. It's like an echo of Earth.
Okay.
I don't know why there's not a 1 Echo.
Well, Earth, that's the first one, and everything's an Echo after that.
Yeah, so they're just
sense.
numbered. So 2 Echo is the mixed martial animals. That's where it takes place.
Okay.
It's 2 Echo. So that is still actually within the Skulldier.
Oh, nice.
It is, and I would love to get to that at some point. 3 Echo is where Org comes from. He's the big purple alien guy. I don't know if you've seen him on my Instagrams or anything, but he's from 3 Echo, and he teams up with Masako in issue 2. And then 4 Echo is kind of like an elfin planet. There's all
more fantasy based.
That's definitely part of it, yeah. But the dominant race on 4 Echo are these elfin. I call them Agleans. These elfin, long-eared characters.
Okay.
And there's also the Jabberwockers on 4 Echo, this dragon type character. So a big undercurrent of my characters is that emotional content, and specifically the pain they've been through. Now that I think about it, it's not terribly happy. These characters aren't terribly happy. Nyx has been torn away from a lot of loved ones, and he's just filled with spite and hate.
Well, you're right with what you know, and if that's kind of if that's like your career, that's what you're entrenched in.
A lot of what the kids I've worked with don't have one or both of their parents, have been taken away by by CPS and put into foster care. So apparently that's bled into what I'm writing. Masako is she's a victim of abuse. I'm not going to go more into that because I want to save it for issue 1.5. But she's a victim of heavy abuse, and that's definitely a part of working in therapy. And we see that in the way that she interacts with people in issue 2. So yeah, that stuff, and I want to spend more time on it and really develop the emotional stuff. But that's a huge part of my characters and really getting to know them. You know, like hopefully people will actually feel something for, you know, what they're reading. That's a big goal of mine.
Well, yeah, I mean, anytime you're putting out a story out there, it's a weird emotional manipulation thing if you're doing it, you know, right.
Yeah, I agree, and I want people to feel sad or desperate in certain parts, and also humor, and you know, but yeah, a goal of mine is that we're feeling something along with the characters, you know, and that's probably a goal of any writer. Yeah.
Yeah, with your visual style, where did you develop that from your brother Jeff as well with a lot of it, or is he like completely different than your style?
His stuff is visually, he's very, I don't want to say kiddie, but he's more kid friendly. He would do really well as a Pokemon artist.
Okay.
Or drawing Link. No, actually, he could kick ass at Link, but more of a simplistic. I think it's Wind Waker.
Okay.
That cell shaded kind of look.
Okay.
So he's more of this very simple kind of style, not comic book style.
More towards like animated, cartoonish.
Yeah, I guess you could say that. Yeah. For me, more, I don't know, I guess comic book style, more contemporary, I would think. I don't know how to label it any better, but no, visually we're pretty distinct. But his ideas, it's like he's got the coolest ideas, and really what I wanted to do, he has this just really cool like story about a kid in this fantasy world, and it just blew me away, and I was like begging him to let me draw it, and he's like, no, my style would be best for this. And I pitched it to him, and I drew out his character, and I'm like, look, dude, I can knock this out of the park, let me do it. And he would never let me do it.
Wow.
And I really, really wanted to, because it would be this cool like fantasy epic, and
yeah,
it was all like on this other planet of like, it was all organic, which is my strength. And apparently he like pitched to other people or something like that. He was trying to find an artist. Yeah, he was trying to find an artist to do it. And he was getting submissions, and he said no one fit it the way he wanted it to look. And so I drew it. He's like, yours is the closest to what I want it to look like.
But still,
so I was like right there. And he's like, and he said, but no, I'm probably gonna do it on my own. Which he hasn't. It's been years. He hasn't done it.
Oh, that's the worst.
I was really excited about that too.
Yeah.
But now I'm hooked on Skulldier, so it worked out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you developed quite a following on Instagram.
Yeah.
Has that been essential coming into this and doing the Kickstarter stuff and having that fan base?
Absolutely. I don't know how I would have successfully funded issue 1 just cold. Like if I just uploaded it and hoped. I don't know if that would work, you know. Having the fan base be excited about it, look forward to it, and then especially do their fan art of my characters, which is like the coolest experience for me. But when they do that, they show their fans, obviously, their followers, their family, and their friends. So seeing them do their own Skulldiers or their own version of Nyx for issue 1, that was huge. And then I did some sort of giveaway where if they, what the hell was it? They could just like repost something, they would get some of my artwork. And a bunch of them did that. Not a whole lot, but enough, you know. So stuff like that really helps. And then there was people that just shared, just kind of posted that I had a Kickstarter going just for the hell of it, just because they were cool, you know?
Yeah.
So like, yeah, that made a huge difference. And then there was people I had made relationships with. There was one in particular, he had met me on Instagram, or conversed. He's in Florida, and he had asked me for some artwork for a gamer / nerd kind of like, not convention, but like a big party basically.
Yeah.
I don't know how else to describe it. And the theme was Ninja Turtles, and that was something I was good at. And so I sent him some stuff just as a donation, just like, you know, keep it, and then he would raffle it off for charity or something.
Oh,
like that.
cool.
Yeah, it's in Florida. It's called GAAM, Games, Art, and Music, I believe.
Oh, okay.
And it's this epic like party, costumes, and gaming, and all kinds of stuff. But he ended up pitching in $50. He didn't even buy a tier. He just gave me $50 for my first. And it was just like, I built a good relationship with someone I built, met on Instagram, and just out of the kindness of his heart, he gave me $50.
Wow.
Yeah, it makes a big difference.
So just kind of a trickle of stuff like that.
Yeah, there was a couple people who just donated for the heck of it, and he gave me 50. Like, that's a significant amount. And then people that were looking forward to it that I had just been blasting it on Instagram, and then Facebook as well. I have a Facebook page, which is really small. Like, I don't have much of a following on there, but the people that follow me are like
the hardcores.
Yeah, like they're into it. They look forward to it, and they're talking with me, and I can probably name them each like on one hand, just because like I know my followers on Facebook,
Yeah.
Whereas on Instagram, I know a lot of them, but I have no idea who the majority of these people are, because I have like 8,400 or so.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of them are ghost followers. I have no idea. Like I have no idea who these people are. It pisses me off. But on Facebook, I know.
Yeah.
And I think I'm not even at 500. And most of the people don't even interact with me, but there was like 20 or so that interact with me on a regular basis, and they comment and they ask and they look forward to stuff and they share, and they're really involved,
Well, it just kind of, saying that makes me think of almost like today's society, in that everybody and their mom watches the Marvel movies.
Yeah.
Or comic book movies and all that. But yet, your top selling comic only sells 100,000 copies.
Yeah.
Or, and even then, there's like Marvel comics that only sell like 10,000 copies.
Really?
Yeah.
Damn.
And that kind of stuff. So, I mean,
wow.
you get the giant exposure, and you're lucky if you get, 5% of that to actually buy your...
That's crazy.
Your product. Yeah.
I had no idea it was that low.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, I'm a lot lower than that, but...
But just the concept.
That's crazy. Yeah, no, I'm just blown away by that.
Yeah.
That amount.
Yeah, no, I went and looked at, I looked, it was the Squirrel Girl comic was selling like less than 10,000 copies, and I'm like, how is this comic still being made? And then I look, and it won Eisner's.
Really?
Yeah. And I was like, that's why it's being made.
Squirrel Girl like blows me away. I know she's like this hugely powerful character. I haven't read it, but I knew she was kind of had a popular fan base. But that book has won Eisner's.
Yes.
Multiple?
I believe so.
That's crazy.
I know it's been nominated. Yeah. And
wow.
A lot of it just comes down to the take on the character. And if you've got something that unique out there, generally the fan base, I bet all 10,000 of those people are super hardcore into it.
Yeah.
And I know the other thing is Marvel's pretty good about, if you've got a steady flow and they know you're not going to suffer from attrition, that they'll just keep it going as long as it's reliable.
Oh, yeah. Wow, that's crazy. Marvel, I don't know why I thought of this, but Marvel had I don't read comics that much. And when I do, it's usually like older stuff, not really current. But their run during what was it? Were they kind of like they relaunched the entire line? And
Marvel Now?
No, it was before that. It was the Battle World and Doctor Doom.
Oh, Secret Wars.
Secret Wars, yeah. I loved that. That was like 9 months to a year worth of like random stuff.
Yeah.
I loved it. It was just crazy ideas and.
Well, actually, the guy that wrote that, he's insane because he started that in 2008 or 9.
Yeah.
And he started laying out the foundations. It may have been 10.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, he laid out the foundations in this Fantastic Four run that went 30, 40 issues, and then he took it into the Avengers and did an Avengers run of about 50 issues 50 or 60 issues between two series. And then he did an event in the middle of that, and then it all culminated in Secret Wars.
Wow.
So
I wonder what those little pieces were. Was it like the Illuminati or something? Because I know that was kind of sprinkled in for a while, right?
Yeah.
I might be totally wrong about this, but...
Yeah, a lot of that was... I mean, whenever you talk about having 100 years worth of stuff, that's the kind of stuff he was doing.
That's amazing.
So, I mean, it's...
Wow. To
me, that kind of says you're on the right track whenever you've got that much history already built up going into it, and that's a prepared writer.
Yeah, what worries me is that I'm locking myself into an outcome.
Okay,
that makes sense. Like I want
you want the path to be twisty and turny and not...
like it's like I want it to end up you know, at this point, and this point, and this point. So I'm kind of filling in what happens between, and I'm worried that's not, or I don't want to say organic, but like if it's too stiff, you know what I mean? Like there was, at the end of issue 2, there was, this isn't ruining anything, but Masako doesn't have any independent thoughts of her own. She quotes things, and that's like it. And at the end of issue 2, I have her saying "F you," which is totally out of her character, but I really wanted that line in. And so I knew the outcome, and I was distorting her character and the way she thinks and why she would say something like that, and I was justifying it, when ultimately it was like, I have to let go of my outcome, because everything else I'm twisting to fit the outcome.
Yeah.
When really it's like, no, the path led me to a different outcome, and I need to be able to let that go, you know what I mean? So I guess I'm worried on a larger scale. I have my outcomes, my checkpoints basically, which are pretty fixed, and I don't want to let those go, but I feel like maybe I'm worried that maybe I'll need to if the characters take me elsewhere.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing, it's yours, so technically there is no lock. Your lock is whatever you want it to be. And if you're building towards something, you've got that organic shift that can come, and you say, well, I didn't see this coming, so now I get to explore whatever it is in this side. And
I think for my characters with the emotional content, the organic part of it really I have to see where the characters take me. But I really want certain things to happen.
Yeah.
And I get like emotionally attached to them. Like I have this vision of how the series will end, and how the next one will begin. Because I've already.
That's. I mean, honestly, when I tried to write comics, that was one thing I was notorious for, was I never had an ending. But yet when I listened to all the other writers that I took advice from, a lot of them was the first thing, well, I've got the ending, now I need to figure out what the rest of it is.
Oh, interesting.
So, I mean, it seems like you're kind of naturally falling into these, like you have a natural inclination to the storytelling.
I think so, and I hope so. I'm trying to think of, like with issue 1, the original story was the Jabberwocky poem, and then I added to the front and the end of it. And again, I kind of let it just go where it went. Yeah. And it's fun. It really is, like, to see. It feels like I'm kind of giving them their own life, and they're, which sounds corny, I know, but kind of, taking me along their journey in a way. Yeah.
Well, if you're spending that much time in the universe, like just thinking about it, it's bound to happen. A lot of story. The best stories are larger than life, like you said with the Jabberwocky. That was made how many years ago?
Yeah.
And yet it's still affecting today, and it's developed a life of its own, and that's something all characters have the potential for.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I spend a ton of time thinking about this. And it's like the way when I think about it, it's, is someone going to catch me doing what do they call that? Where one thing doesn't match the other, or there's like an inconsistency or something like that.
Continuity error?
Yeah, there you go. It's like, is someone going to catch me in a continuity? Like I'm obsessed about that.
You need to just know right now that's going to happen. That's going to happen, and it's going to be okay because you're human.
Yeah.
And it happens even especially in professional again, I go to Marvel.
Oh, I know, yeah.
There was a story they did with Spider-Man, and Mary Jane's arm got broken in the middle of it, and then the next issue the artist didn't get the memo. Her arm was fine, and then a writer at the issue after that kind of crossover was done, he spent 2 pages with an explanation as to why Mary Jane's arm was fine.
Oh, really?
And it was funny because at the end it has Peter looking at the reader like,
awesome.
see, I know.
That's awesome. That's great. So hopefully there's nothing like glaring like that.
Yeah.
Where someone's missing a limb and all of a sudden they have it. Like I don't think I'll pull something like that, but it's more of like I have this weapon, and like they all have the same weapon technology based off this alien technology. And in my mind, it was like it has to make sense. I want it to make sense, and I want to know how it works, which is it's impossible. I have no idea. And even like lightsabers, as we go on, like people have broken it down. And there's this piece and this piece, and when you put them all together, this thing happens, and
like the mechanics behind it.
Yeah, it's like But it doesn't make sense, right? It's just we're calling them certain pieces. But like, I want to know how my weapons work and why. But I don't know if I can articulate that in a way that. So it's like, do I even bother? Because it's going to create a hole that someone's going to pick apart, you know? And
well, if you're having fun with it, like run with it. They did and again, you go back to the mainstream comics, they'd have those giant breakdowns of the Batcave or the X-Mansion or whatever, you know, and people did that for fun. Yeah. If you've got such a big, expansive world, you can do that for fun, and you know, that's... Yeah. Yeah. I think actually what I'm working on, one of the things is on my website, I'm adding something called the Skulldier. So it's a chronicling of all the stuff that I can think of in my universe, because I won't have time to explain all of it in the issues. So that'll give me an opportunity to like break down, you know, this is how the weapon works and why, as best I can. Are you going to advertise the Skulldier Bprd in like your comics and stuff? Yeah, I think so. I'm still working on it, and one of the reward tiers for the Kickstarter, actually a couple of them, are if you buy a certain tier. Well, hold on. Since we're talking about the Kickstarter, how about we just go through all the tiers that there are? Oh my god! All right, I have 50 tiers now. No, it's like wow. You know what? I've seen 30, 40 tiers. It gets pretty crazy. I hope I didn't do too many. The first time I had like 9. It was very concise. But then I got feedback from other people who had successfully done the Kickstarter saying I needed to do more. So I'm going to go ahead and say those people are crazy. I like simple, you know? Yeah, yeah. So what I did was in the last one, I added a tier where I drew a remark on the back of the cover. Oh, cool. And a few people did that. It actually really helped. It was a good idea. So for this one, tier 1 for $5, it's digital stuff, digital comic, digital wallpaper, blah, blah, blah. PDFs, all that? Yeah, yeah. Tier 1.1 is that plus the video commentary. Tier 2, $10 is the printed issue plus the other stuff. Tier 3, $25, mini prints, sticker pack, and the other stuff. Tier 4 is all the other stuff plus the head sketch, $40. Tier 5 is a t-shirt plus everything else. Tier 6 is a medium print plus everything else. Tier 7 is... how much is Tier 6? $75. So it's a medium print plus the t-shirt plus the head sketch plus blah, 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 all the other stuff. Tier 7 is $100, the large print, plus the medium print, plus everything else. Tier 8, $125, which is it's a special thanks in issue 2, and on my social media, I'll be on the commentary video, so I'll have that person's name blasted everywhere I possibly can to say thank you. Tier 9 is $175. It's Masako versus anybody. So it's basically like a kill shot of her killing whoever you want to kill. So you've got like a pre-designated shot of Masako, and then you're just going to add in whoever. Right. I tried to do that. That was the goal last time with Nyx, and I ended up just doing. There's only a few of them, so I ended up doing. Each one was significant. Was different. Okay. So I don't want to go the template route, but with the head sketch ones for tier 4, I am doing. I have 7 different head sketches. That way you don't get bored, but you don't have so much diversity. Well, the way I did, I have 4 of them are common, so I broke them down into rarity. So 4 of them. That's awesome. That's like hard. Yeah, that's really cool. So they'll be randomly given out, no preference. So 4 of them are common, 2 of them are rare, and the last one's very rare. And it'll be broken down on the Kickstarter campaign, which is which. So yeah, tier 9 is Masako versus anybody. And last year it was Nyx versus anybody, and it was Nyx was killing, who was it? Krabopulus something or other from, I don't ever watch that show. I have no clue what you're talking about. Was that like weird alien guy? His name is Krabopulus Max or something like that? No, whatever. And then there was like, who else was it? Nyx versus, I don't know, it was some other people. But it was fun. And it's like a kill shot, cutting their head off or whatever. Tier 10 is $250. Where you get it's a custom Iglean for issue 3. So that's the elf characters. Okay. The elf race. So you and I will decide or design a custom Iglean, how they move, what weapons they use, how they dress. So they have somewhat of a say in this character. A lot of say, yeah. And that will be entered into the Skulldier Bprd. Your official character will be part of canon. Obviously, it's in issue 3.
I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah, no, that's really neat.
And they could do one that looks like them, but Igleans have different facial structures. I don't think it'll really work out. But you could do custom tattoos. So the design of it is really up to the person. And I have a couple upgrades available for that tier, like giving it a speaking role, and then printing out a poster of the page that your Iglean appears on, or
nice.
page is, or whatever. So tier 11, $450, which is a custom canon Skulldier. So someone can actually design their own Skulldier with me, go in Skulldiorpedia, and might pop up in like a side issue or whatever. That's really actually very likely that they will pop up in another storyline. And then I have upgrades for tier 11, like you and I will create a 6-page story for your Skulldier, which I will draw in ink.
Wow.
And then you get to keep the original artwork. It'll be up for free on my website for people to enjoy. I won't make any money off of it, and unless it's part of an anthology, like way down the road.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's a pretty cool one. But yeah, the price wise, it does get up there. And then tier 12 is $500, and that's all of my remaining artwork from issue 1. So it's like 16 pages of artwork plus 2 pages of colored artwork.
That just sounds like a hell of a deal. $500 gets you.
It's a lot.
16 pages of original artwork.
Yeah, plus 2 pages of colors, plus everything in tier 1 through 9. So everything up until the Masako versus anybody.
Holy crap!
So that's a lot, but it's $500. That's pricey,
Well, even then, if you look at if you're looking at original art online and how much people sell that for,
oh yeah,
you know what I mean. I'm thinking minimum $100 a page.
That's
You're getting,
and that's my going rate. Like if I was to draw for somebody else, that's what I would ask for. And the upgrade for that would be also to purchase access to my Skulldier Stories scripts. So they have access to all the scripts I've written so far, and that I will add to this folder in Google Drive.
Now, how many? That's only available to one person, I take it.
Tier 12, I think I have like 3 slots available.
Okay.
No, actually, I'm sorry, 1 because it's the original artwork.
Okay.
And then tier 13 is $1,000. I call it the Skulldier package. So you get the custom Iglean, it's actually basically pretty much everything except for the artwork.
Okay.
So you get your 6 pages of comic that you and I will create, your own Skulldier, your own Iglean that appears in issue 3, shirt, stickers, everything. Plus you get like a few more issues of issue 2 or copies of issue 2, and issue 1, stickers from issue 1. It's kind of like it's just a ton of crap.
Yeah.
And it's $1,000. It's a lot of money, but it's a lot of stuff
Well, it sounds well worth it. There's a lot of those that I'm like, okay, that person's obviously coasting on name recognition for whatever their crazy tier is. And while I feel like you said you have like 8,000 followers on Instagram, that's nothing to scoff at.
No.
So to even give away that much, even though you've built that reputation on Instagram, I feel like that's a hell of a thing.
I want it, I don't want to rip people off at all. I want it to be like, I got what I want, but I really want to make sure you get what you want. So hopefully, that it'll be a price point that's enticing for people.
Yeah. So it sounds like you're trying to this is an intimate experience for them as well as it is you in a different area.
Yeah, if someone wants to drop down that much for a custom character, that it's going to be like you and I are going to be talking intimately about everything, like about their backstory. I want to treat our character with as much respect as I would my own that I've already written. So it's not just like a one and done, fill out the survey. It's like you and I are going to be talking until we're both happy with it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, if people go that route, like they'll get a ton of my attention. Yeah.
Wow.
Of course, yeah, absolutely. The connections with people, like I love it. It's to know that I have affected someone in a positive way through my artwork is like the coolest thing. I love it.
Now I've seen you do physical art and stuff like that. Is this all going to be physical art, or are you switching to digital?
Issue 2 is entirely done on that.
What we're recording, the live, or the
It's on the Surface Pro 4. It's done entirely. Issue 1 I had done in pencil.
And then digital inks? No,
actually I kept the original pencil.
Oh, okay.
And I colored underneath it. And it was, I was really happy with the way that it looked. But just as far as the power I have over editing digitally, like once you do a page in pencil, I don't want to redo it because I'm not gonna redo it. But digitally, it's pretty easy to redo. I can't complain about that, and I don't have to worry about eraser marks and all this other stuff, So I wanted issue 2 to have a cleaner kind of look to it, but it still has that kind of rough pencil-y look to it. I use the same weird crosshatch shading style,
Okay.
Which was in it with the half issue as well. So it still has kind of like a hand-drawn look to it. I didn't want to go for the traditional inked look, but I think and then issue 3 I'll do the same, but I think for 4, 5, and 6 I'll go to that more traditional kind of look to it. Yeah. So yeah, the power I have with digitally, I can't. And then I can take this anywhere I go. I have this here.
So when you have an idea or something like that, you can just sketch it out real quick.
This seriously goes everywhere with me. I bring it to work if I'm on a break.
I was gonna say, lunchtime you're just sitting there and you can doodle and all that.
Yep. Or not just doodle and dick around, but like I'm actually like working on pages or I'm writing or like this thing is invaluable. Which sucks because I dropped it or ruined part of it, and I can't. Part of the screen won't work.
Oh, really? Yeah. Oh, that sucks.
But it's been invaluable being able to carry my entire comic book with me that I'm working on, and then be able to bust it out and work on it, and tuck it away in my messenger bag and move on.
Yeah.
Invaluable.
How has being a dad influenced all this? I mean, do your kids see it and they're like, "Oh my gosh, that's super cool"?
No, because it has swearing in it.
Oh, okay.
And killing.
Okay, so you try to keep them away. So this is
they're not allowed to read it.
This is a more mature title.
Yeah, I really wrestled with that too, because like if you look at the way I don't draw like large-breasted women, no overly sexual things, just because I don't know, it just seems cheap and I don't know, it's just not my thing. But also, I don't want my kids to see that. It's not, I don't know. But doing these stories, I wrestled with that, like how far do I want to take this? And ultimately, I decided like this is for me. Again, this is for me, and I like violence. Not committing violence, but like John Woo.
Yeah.
Movies.
The visual of it.
But it's not. Yeah. The bloody like part of it. I think it's kind of. I don't know. I like it, but then he also balances that with visually and pacing, and it's like this poetic bloody massacre, and I like it a lot. So John Woo is a huge, like, once I saw his work when I was younger, I was like, holy shit, you can do this? And not have it just be glorified like a slasher flick or something.
Yeah. But
like he made this kick-ass action bloody scene, and it's just cool. Like it's just that, and so I like the ultra violence, and hopefully I pull it off in a way that I know it's not going to be as cool as John Woo, but it's stylistic and goes above just killing people. So for me, I like that stuff, and I like swearing for the most part. So I put those in, and it's not just for me. Like my character, like Nyx, he swears. In issue 1, he swears. In issue 2, Masako doesn't. She talks in quotes, so there's less swearing in that. But it's for teens and up. And when teens would buy it at conventions, I would warn their parents, like, look, this has violence and swearing in it.
Trying to give them proper respect. You'd want somebody to have for their kid.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's funny because the parents didn't care.
Yeah.
For me, I'd be like, nope, you're not getting near it. And the parents are like, oh yeah, they see it on TV all the time. They didn't care.
Yeah.
So I definitely recommend, and even for the Kickstarter, I put like this is for, it's got blood and violence and swearing in it. This is for teens and up, at least.
Yeah.
It would be rated R, I guess. Rated R.
Okay.
But not like early Jessica Jones rated R. Because early on she was pretty dark, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Because it wasn't exactly the Marvel. It was Marvel, but it was like
it was the Max line.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, that was their R-rated Marvel Universe stuff.
Yeah. So it would be like almost the Netflix Marvel stuff, but without the sex stuff. I don't think I'll put anything really overly sexual in what I do. I don't know.
Yeah.
Not for me.
I was gonna say this is for you, so I mean, whatever you're into, that's what you're putting in. If that's not something you're into,
I'm not into sex.
Yeah, obviously your 2 kids show that.
Just twice. I've done it twice in my life. Hit a home run both times.
Yeah,
had a kid. No, I don't know. I like the violent part of it. That's gonna go in there. The emotional stuff's gonna go in there. There'll be swearing if my characters swear. I don't know. I don't see myself adding anything terribly sexual in it. It just doesn't do it for me. I don't know.
Well, and you're also drawing this, so I mean, you got to keep yourself interested in what you're drawing.
It would feel weird to draw sex. For me, I don't know. It would feel weird. And even like when I see...
Do you feel like it'd be exploitive?
Maybe. I just chose a tasteful way to do it. In a way that's real and makes sense, but I don't know. It's not something I've ever been interested in drawing. Maybe when I was like 13.
Yeah. I think we all tried that
exactly.
at 13.
I can remember drawing in a textbook when I was 13 and getting caught in line about it. But beyond that, I haven't felt the urge to like draw anything sexually related like that at all, ever.
Yeah.
And it was pretty graphic.
It's funny, a lot of us don't have that talent to get caught with. It's just like stick figures and round shapes. And, and people will be, look what I drew, and half the time the teachers are just like, I know they think they're doing something inappropriate, so I gotta bust them for that.
It wasn't, they didn't catch me because of my talent. It was in a book that was assigned to me.
Oh, okay.
So I had to lie it off and say, I turned it in, it was fine.
Yeah.
Whoever got it after that, it wasn't me. Yeah. It was obviously.
Yeah.
I was like the drawer in the class.
Okay.
It was obviously me. But I was like, no. Yeah. They were like, okay.
They eventually just went with it.
I would have gotten. That was at a private Christian.
Oh, okay.
Elementary 8th grade.
Okay.
So I would have been kicked out of the school.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Dang.
They take that stuff like dead serious. Oh yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So luckily I used to do a lot of lying when I was younger. God. So sexual stuff. I don't know. I don't think it'll ever pop up really.
Yeah.
I get kind of.
Well, I saw the romance between in that half issue. What I did get to read was the romance between Nyx and Penelope.
Yeah.
So I mean, eventually you have that. Should it come down to that, you have. That's something that you could address.
I think romance is fine, and they have a really deep, real connection. No problem there, but
and to be able to, it takes talent to be able to develop that without just, just being like in your face. Look,
I just feel like if all of a sudden they're getting down, like all of a sudden now we're removed. It just feels like we're too removed from
the emotional aspects.
Yeah, and the actual story I'm trying to tell. Just like. Sex scenes work, in action or horror movies. It's fine. We don't mind them, but really they kind of take us away from. I guess they could add to it, but
even then they're used as a device. They're not. It's not anything important.
Yeah.
In a lot of those movies.
Yeah, like what's important between Nyx and Penelope is not their body parts. It's really honestly what intrigues me the most is they have this very deep psychic connection. So it's not just like they're into each other. There's something about the two
like
of them.
Scott Summers, Jean Grey.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. So whatever connects them is like there's something deeply ingrained in both of them that it's just like it just. I think in the issue they both use the word fireworks, I believe. Like there's something about them that is like deeply ingrained that they just like click, and even Penelope in the half issue, she says that they're afraid of us. Like there's something about us that ELIC, the government, or the military wing of the government. There's something about us that they're scared of, and like that's something I'll build on in the future. So that's one of those seeds I planted that'll come up later on. Do you have,
since issue 1's Kickstarter is complete, do you have any more print copies that people can buy?
I have a few left. For each of those tiers, I have for the first like 5 or 6 tiers, I have an upgrade for them, which is to have issue 1 come along with the rest of the tier. So that's why it looks like I have a lot of tiers, is because each tier has like an upgrade to it.
Okay.
And the upgrade for a chunk of them is to have issue 1, which I'm not going to print anymore. Both issue 1 and issue 2, and pretty much everything I do, I'm not going to do multiple print runs of it.
Okay, so it's 1, and if you don't get it, you miss it.
Yeah, and that's more for me because I don't want to keep. I suck at selling these things. I suck. I don't know how to sell them.
What?
I can sell my print work really like at conventions.
How do you not? But you said this is what you think about all day. How do you not know how to sell?
The creating of it, yeah.
Yeah.
And the drawing and the storytelling. That's all. I mean, that's really all I want out of this.
Okay.
And then to show it to people. I want to show it to
Yeah.
people. Because I like getting the feedback and stuff. And
you'd think that excitement would just bleed over into people
into
saying
selling.
like, yeah, into people being like, oh, this is his passion project. Let's go.
There's that element of it, but like online, there's that element of it. But at a convention, people don't necessarily know. They don't follow me. You know, they walk along the aisle and they see my work.
Okay.
And I get a lot of attention at conventions. I think I have quality work. But they're not going to then say, well, do you have a comic that you can do? Like everything. Well, I guess that hasn't actually happened, but it's different because the people online, I think they'll want the next thing that I have, you know. But the people at a convention, it's I don't know. It just doesn't work that way, like at all.
Do you think if you had a graphic novel, it'd be different?
Maybe, yeah. Complete story, yeah. I think when you buy just one issue and the next one comes out like a year later, there's probably less motivation.
It's hard to keep up with that kind of stuff.
That's a good point, yeah. But the people online, they see me working on issue 2, even though it's not out yet. They saw me working on it for like.
So they're part of the process.
Yeah, the process. The process, I think, is a big part of that. And so they're seeing that development, and then they're seeing like now it's available. Now the Kickstarter's coming. So yeah, I think that's probably why it's different. That makes sense.
Do you have it up for digital, like Comixology? Do you have it over there?
I looked into that. I haven't pursued that. I would like to do something like that. And what I really want to do is have it published. And there's been a few small publishers that have been, actually one moderate-sized publisher that has shown a lot of interest in what I do.
What do you mean by having it like to where you just don't have to put the money up front to do that? Okay.
Where I make it, and then they print it, and
okay.
I'm done with it. Like that's really what I want. I don't want to peddle these things.
Okay.
I want to draw it and move on.
So if it's reprinted, it's not going to be you. It's going to be another publisher.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's probably a different cover and everything.
Okay.
So I'm only going to print this once. If I ever do get it published, they might want to, or do it as part of an anthology. I would reprint it as part of an anthology. But I'm not going to like sell out of issue 2 and then say, okay, let's do another print run. Like once it's done, it's done. I've moved on. So yeah, I would love to get it published. And there's, like I said, there's been some interest in that, but the issue that I have is that I don't produce it fast enough.
Yeah.
They want 2 issues a year for like an independent small comic, creator. 2 issues a year is kind of standard, and I can't commit to 2 issues a year, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Well, but now that I'm not doing conventions or print work as much, I might get closer to that. If I stopped doing Kickstarter, that would add a lot more time, because I finished issue 2 fucking long time ago, and then it's like, okay, prep for Kickstarter at least a month, do Kickstarter a month, and then fulfill the rewards a month or 2. And I'm not working on issue 3 really at all.
Okay.
In between then.
That takes away all your time from the creating aspect.
Exactly. So if I stopped doing Kickstarter, or had hired someone to do it for me, which I'd be open to, that's like 4 months, 3 or 4 months, where I could put solid work into issue 3. So
and by then, probably have it done.
Yeah, I mean, realistically, if I were to really match it, 4 months is a lot of time.
Yeah.
To really dedicate yourself, it could be doable. Yeah.
You're doing everything, aren't you? From lettering to coloring to all that stuff. Yeah. As to where most comics, they have a different person for each job. Yeah. So being a one-man crew is obviously going to be time consuming.
It is, yeah. But I refuse to give up any of it. I can't. I don't know. People have offered to draw a variant cover or the cover, and I'm like, in my head, I'm like, okay, cool. But really, it's like, no, you're not touching it. This is mine. It's my thing. Yeah. I put a ton of thought and time and planning and execution into it. I don't want to give up any piece of it. I like having complete control over it. And I'm kind of a controlling person anyways. But in this world, this is my world. I'm building. All of this is mine, And I don't want to share it. I want you to read it.
Yeah.
But like, no, like everything's gonna look and read and feel and have my pace. I want to have control over every single aspect of this.
Is that going to make it difficult on the later tiers?
What do you mean?
Well, you said you had the $500 tier and the $1,000 tier where you're helping make character.
Oh, yeah.
Is that creative? This is probably an awful question to ask when we're trying to promote this. But as I said, I'm a process nerd, so and I understand the ownership and the control issue of it. Do you think that's going to be like a welcome challenge to try to kind of let that go into somebody else?
That is an anxiety I already feel.
Okay.
Because if someone does go that route, ultimately I need to have control over it. But you pay a lot of money, and I want to respect that. So I'm willing to like give and take. I have to be, because it's no longer my thing. Exactly. You're hugely a part of this because it's your ideas as well as mine and your money. So I have to respect that, and that almost kind of has to take priority. I'm not going to do something like I want to have 6 pages of people fucking each other. Like, no, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
But 6 pages of lots of killing with their character. Yeah, we can do that. If he wants it to be, or he or she wants it. I'm pretty much. I can work with probably anything, unless I'm like morally or ethically uncomfortable with it. I wouldn't do that.
Okay.
And I think I probably have clear lines as to what I would cut it off at. I can't imagine someone would pay $1,000 for something like that. I can't imagine, like, if you're spending that much money, like, you're into what I'm creating and you want to be a part of it. So even though I do have some anxiety about that, I don't doubt it would work out.
Okay.
Like I would make it work out.
So you think that if somebody's going to put that much of a commitment in, they're going to be somewhat, at least, on the same wavelength as you?
I would assume so, yeah.
Yeah.
And if we're like way off, I have no problem giving them the money back and saying this is not going to work out. Because I don't want. I'm creating an overall world and product that I want to feel good about. And I'm willing to work with people, like I said, but there's definitely some lines I would not be willing to cross.
So we've got to, unfortunately for time, we've got to wrap this up. I've had a great time, Justin.
That was fun.
Where can people find you? Obviously, Instagram. What are all your handles and everything on the internet?
Instagram is Justin_Prime. YouTube is Justin Prime or /Justin Prime 1, because Justin Prime's taken. There's this there's a DJ in like Sweden or something like that who goes by Justin Prime. Anyhow, so Facebook is /The Art of Justin Prime. I really should have all these matched. It didn't work out that way. And that's all I really use. I can't stand Twitter. That's really it.
Okay.
Instagram is all my stuff goes to Instagram. On Facebook, you might get things a little bit different, like a full page versus a cropped Instagram, thing. But for the most part, they're the same. But Instagram is my immediate go-to. It gets everything first.
So that's kind of like your hub.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Graphic content listeners, as you know, I'm at Adam S. Messinger everywhere you go. Twitter, Instagram, all that good stuff. You can hit up the show for anything whatsoever at Graphic Podcast on Twitter. thereal.graphiccontent@gmail.com if you got anything like that you want to email us questions. Graphic. See, I should know this, and this is where I don't.
You add it in during the editing.
Well, that's theoretically, but it's much more fun to just hear me fumble and fuck up. I run the Instagram, and I can't tell you what the Instagram is right now. It's completely out of my brain. I've got to look it up.
I can look it up.
Well, I've got it right here.
You got it, okay.
But yeah, my brain is just like...
I thought it was like graphic content podcast.
It's graphic content .podcast.
Yeah, that's a little tricky there.
Yeah, see all the dots and everything. And this is like the third time I've recorded and just been like, Like, it gets to that time, and I'm just like, I think I should probably have it written out.
Are all your handles different? I wasn't able to listen.
Yeah.
I tuned out, sorry.
Yeah, they're a little bit different. As I said, like, this one's, the Instagram's graphiccontent.podcast. The Gmail is thereal.graphiccontent@gmail.com. And then Facebook, Facebook is / graphic podcast, I believe. And then
yeah, those are all different.
The Twitter, is @graphic podcast. So, and I mean, we're on Podbean, we're on iTunes and all that stuff.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, there's a little bit of difference everywhere you go, and that kind of fucks me up. But so I sound like a jackass during this end time as we're trying to wrap things up. The Kickstarter ultimately is why we're here. You said that launches on November 1st of 2017.
Yeah, Wednesday. Yeah, well,
that'll be this Wednesday. By the time this goes up, it'll probably be Thursday. How long is it going to go for?
It's a 30-day thing.
Okay.
So pretty much through November. That's it.
Alrighty.
Yeah.
How can people get issue 1 right now through some means or ways?
No, I pulled it off for sale, so it's no longer for sale. You can read it for free.
Okay, where can you read it for free at?
Right now, if you go to my website, theartofjustinprime.com.
Okay.
I believe I'm working on a whole different website, so I have 2 websites.
Oh, okay.
That work technically.
Yeah.
The other one's not published yet, but theartofjustinprime.com, somewhere on there, probably the Skulldier Stories tab, or maybe on the homepage, is a link to the Google Drive document.
Okay, and you'll have the PDF there for people to read?
The half issue, the PDF, you can read right away because it's smaller, but the issue 1 is bigger, so you have to actually download it. You can't just view it.
Okay.
I don't think.
Well, as long as people, like, for new listeners out there, hopefully, who haven't had a chance to check this out, I figure getting that issue 1, so that way going into issue 2, they can be just as excited as anybody else.
That'd be awesome.
You know, that'd be cool to get some new eyeballs in on your stuff.
Absolutely.
So, thank you very much for listening to the graphic content. I'm Adam. This is Justin. Jim is the one editing this, and thank you very much for putting it up, Jim. With that said, go read a comic. Go read Skulldier Stories.
Yes, sir.
And after that, listen to graphic content.
Cool, man. It's fun.
Yeah, I had a blast doing
It was my first time doing an interview like this.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I've interviewed people, like artists, on my YouTube, but no, I haven't sat down with someone and done this.
Okay.
It was awesome.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't done it face-to-face, I don't think, for the show yet.
How do you usually do it?
We've done Skype.
Oh, okay,
The problem is with Skype, it's it's all on Jim's computer and stuff, so I have to go over to his house. I don't have a computer that functions like that, or a house that would allow me to do that, because it's so small. And I'm taking care of my folks, and so we're all within 2 feet of each other at any given time. So
that would make it rough.
Yeah.
So on Skype, can you record it?
No, he had to buy a call recorder app.
Oh, wow. What I do is, because I was interviewing people through Google Hangouts.
Yeah.
And you can broadcast it to YouTube Live or make it private, but either way it records it. So once the thing is over, it saves it to your YouTube, whether it's private or public. And then from there you can download it and edit it.
Okay.
You can add in graphics and Instagram handles, whatever. But that, besides some audio, I've had some audio issues, and I'm trying to figure out why that is on my end. It's not recording. It glitches every now and then. But that's worked out really well. And then when I do it live, people can join. Like, I'll do live streams of me drawing or the interviews.
Yeah.
If people can join in and watch and ask questions and stuff.
Oh, yeah, we've done Facebook Live a couple of times.
Oh, there you go.
And that was one that we had a lot of fun with. We've done that, and it was funny, the last time we did Facebook Live, we were using Jim's phone, and Jim's phone died, like, right at the end of it, so, like, the last 5 minutes. Like, we're sitting there, and I was like, whenever we do Facebook Live, I have my phone right here, so that way I can see who's coming in, who's going out, and all that. It was like, feed interrupted, and I'm like, what the hell happened? And yeah, his wife like texts me and was just like, "What happened to the feed?" Because she watches it from the other room.
Oh, that's cool.
And so I was like, "It's a good question. Let me go check." I tap his phone, just dead.
Yeah, it sucks like that stuff's obviously out of our hands, right?
Yeah.
The feed and so when I'm doing these interviews or talking with people, sometimes I can't hear what they're saying, but record is fine. So I'm like asking them like, "What was that?" Even though the audience would be able to hear them just fine, but I can't hear them.
Yeah.
And then my audio is messed up, so it's like I'm not gonna redo it. I'm not gonna redo the interview. It is what it is.
Yeah.
You know, I've been doing this thing now with I kind of took on this like protege, apprentice, Padawan, kind of guy. He helped me out at some conventions, and so I'm kind of helping him with his style and content. And he's doing his first convention. I'm kind of coaching him up.
Oh, nice.
So we do these streams where we talk to each other.
Yeah.
And they haven't been live or anything, but I save them. So we've done 2, but they're really fun. I don't know why I brought this up, but. So it's kind of like him and me, you know, his mentorship kind of role.
Yeah.
But
Well, it seems like very natural with your profession and everything.
It really is, yeah. It's kind of a nice marriage, and we're not going to do like therapy, but
yeah.
But the skills I use in therapy, yeah, they kind of lend themselves to just
to being able to teach about art.
Yeah, and that kind of coaching role, yeah. Mm-hmm. It really is. It was a fun find, I guess, because I didn't expect that. It's like, I can put these things together.
Yeah.
And so we've been recording it, and what I want to do is make content, like recording this, which is still doing, I realize.
Yeah.
So recording this whole thing and that, and it's like, this could be cut up into like little bite-sized pieces of content, you know, so I can keep pumping stuff out.
Well, I figure with this, it'll kind of be, we can direct it towards your feed, and it'll give you kind of like, there's a reason to listen to this, and then there's a reason to go to your feed for the little extra stuff.
Yeah, so part of the deal with my little Padawan is he's going to download these things and then cut them up into...
Oh, cool.
So that takes a little bit off me.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like we're trading. I'm mentoring and he's going to help me out with content.
Okay.
So he's going to get these little cool sound bites or 5 minutes worth of chunk of time or whatever.
Shit, I meant to ask you, who are some of your visual inspirations?
Oh, yeah. Do you want us to chat or do you want to record it or leave it?
Nah, it can be on here.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Joe Madeira.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Like, I can't draw like him, but
when you say that, I can see it. You talked about going straight from pencils to colors. That's something he does all the time.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah, he did that with. I saw that in Inhumans.
Yeah, Inhuman, Avenging Spider-Man. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, the Savage Wolverine stuff he did. That was how he did it there.
It worked too. That doesn't always work, but like his.
Yeah.
Work. Yeah, he's one of those artists where if I see it, I have to stop and look. He absolutely. Humberto Ramos, I think. I really enjoy looking at his stuff. I'm not sure how much of that goes into what I do, but he's definitely, I would say, someone I really enjoy. Excuse me. Those two I think are like the ones that I really kind of like. Oh, and then Edwin Huang, I think his name is.
Oh, yeah, I love that guy.
Iron Pinky.
He did,
Iron Pinky is his handle on Instagram.
Oh, okay.
Iron Pinky.
Okay, he did a bunch of Street Fighter stuff.
Yeah.
And I love those Street Fighter comics.
I need to read those.
They're so good, dude.
Yeah.
And here's the thing, is they're not... I hate to say it like this because it sounds derogatory, but I don't mean it. It's empty action. It's empty action, and it's one of those things I can turn my brain off and just enjoy.
Oh,
this.
yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's a lot of...
Yeah,
there's
totally.
not a ton of character depth, but there doesn't need to be.
Yeah.
And it's just, it's like the art's really good, and you get, it's the deepest it gets is kind of with Ryu and his mentor and Ken and Akuma, and that's kind of the deepest it gets. And then there's a little bit with Cammy as to when she becomes a good guy and a bad guy and all that. But overall, a lot of it's just fun, beat 'em up. I can sit there and read through. I'll read through a couple of graphic novels of that in 2 hours or an hour or something like that.
I need to get on those. If nothing else, just for his artwork, because he's got that really simplistic. Everything he does, like, it has a purpose. He doesn't have very many lines, But he knows how to use thick and thin lines, and he knows where to put them to make a count. And he's another one of those where if I'm flipping through my Instagram, I have to stop and look. Like I'm really compelled by his work, and then Umberto, and especially with Madeira, the energy he puts into his stuff. That's kind of what sucks me in, is like it feels like something's moving, you know. He pulls it off really well. There's a ton of energy going into what he does, and so I think with what I do, I attempt to do that in my own way. But I think that's kind of where that energy is something I try to pull from him specifically.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ed McGuinness, is that another guy that
I really enjoy his?
I was going to say, whenever you talked about Madria and you know, Umberto Ramos and those guys, and like I was just like, oh well, McGuinness is another action guy that, you know, seems to kind of fit in that.
Yeah, same thing when I see him in my feed, I gotta stop and look. Yeah, totally. Yeah. Who else? There's a couple other ones, but those are some big ones that come to my mind. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have anybody writing wise that's that you've kind of taken notion from?
I don't think so, but the stuff I've read of Bendis, Brian Michael Bendis, I do enjoy. Like I finished reading, I think he did all the Ultimate Spider-Man, right?
Oh yeah.
And the Miles Morales stuff.
Oh yeah. He's still writing all that.
You know what I was blown away by? The Miles Morales seemed like another kind of social justice warrior, or social justice kind of attempt to fill a white role with like a non-white character, right? That's kind of what on the surface it looks like that's what's happening, but it's like the same story where he gets bitten by the spider and everything, and his uncle dies, but it works. Like I don't know why it is, but like the way he wrote that is like it really works.
Well, for me, I never look at those characters as like social justice. I mean, to me, I feel like we need the diversity.
Yeah.
And I feel like we need more, whether it's somebody behind the computer or on the page.
Sure.
You know, we need more voices, and I've heard a lot of the best person to do it should get the job, and I'm like, you don't always, that still comes down to taste. It's still subjective.
Sure. Yeah, true.
You know, and to hear everybody's points of view. And I feel like for Bendis to do Miles Morales, he's added a lot of that. It's almost like you have Peter Parker and you've got the elements that make him. And I feel like it's a different recipe for a very similar lasagna and spaghetti.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I, you know.
But like, I'm blown away that like it's such a compelling character. But but it really is kind of a recycling of everything.
Mm-hmm. Oh, his humor and everything. Yeah. Yeah, but it
works. Like what? How did he pull that off?
The other thing
did he like?
He has his parents. He has his parents, and that's a completely different thing. Than
spoiler alert though, like the mom dies.
Yeah.
His uncle died, but the dad.
Well, his uncle, that was crazy.
Yeah,
that was a crazy story.
It worked. It was really it worked. But that blew me away about. I think I generally enjoy. I don't think I've read anything by him I didn't like. By Bendis, you know.
Yeah.
But the Ultimate Spider-Man, what blew me away is like I'm actually enjoying this, and all he's doing is like it seemed like blatantly kind of retelling the Peter Parker story, but it really like worked, and I was blown away by that. I don't know how he did it.
Yeah.
It just seemed like he remixed it, you know, and kicked ass at it.
Oh yeah, that's some of my favorite stuff of his. What got me into comics was Ultimate Marvel Team Up.
Really?
Did you ever read that?
I don't think so.
It's an extension of his Spider-Man stuff because it's basically Spider-Man teams up with whoever.
Oh yeah. Okay.
And honestly, a lot of it's not that good because this was it was the third Ultimate book that they'd ever put out, and it dealt with a lot of characters that had not been dealt with in that universe. And there's some of those stories that are just blatantly out of continuity because it doesn't make any sense, and nobody had figured out how those characters fit into the rest of the universe. But there's some of those that are really good. And he works with like a different artist on each story. My first one was this guy Matt Wagner drew it, and Bendis wrote it, and it was Spider-Man and Wolverine. And I got that from Marvel, and then it was off to the races from there. And I wrote him in for a school project. They sent me that back in a letter, and I was just like, "This is it." And so,
that's cool.
So I picked up Ultimate Spider-Man. By the time I came in, I think they were on issue 8 or something like that, and I was in middle school, so I couldn't go back, and I couldn't afford the back issues because they were so expensive.
For Ultimate Spider-Man?
Yeah. Like, wow. I think even at that point, issue 1 was like $100.
For the Miles Morales Ultimate Spider-Man?
No, for the Peter Parker Ultimate Spider-Man.
That was really good too. There was a little bit too much of I like I don't know if you ever heard of McFarlane's quote when he did the Spider-Man. He wanted to be more spider and less man.
Oh, okay.
Whereas previously, like in Amazing, it was more man and less spider. So he really wanted the hero.
Yeah.
And Bendis, during the Ultimate Spider-Man run, there was a lot of relationship stuff. There was a lot of Mary Jane off and on between. Like that kind of bothered me, but overall, really solid, really fun storytelling.
Yeah.
Even the way that they introduced Venom, not as an alien, but
something his dad worked on, and
it worked. Like, it was everything just clicked. It was I guess they have the benefit of decades worth of storytelling, but he made it work. It was really well.
Yeah, the only thing I didn't like was the end, like the death of Ultimate Spider-Man. I didn't like how they used Green Goblin and like the whole Sinister Six thing and Doc Ock just died. I didn't like.
It has to be epic. I mean,
it seemed to go against character. That was kind of my problem.
Whose character?
For Doc Ock especially.
Because he was kind of subservient.
There was that, and then he does like a hero turn in it.
I don't remember it.
And
maybe I'm not remembering.
And then Green Goblin kills him, and I'm like, this is the guy. Yeah. To me, I felt like Doc Ock was more of his Magneto than Green Goblin even was.
Like as the main villain?
Yeah. That was because I felt like Doc Ock, while Green Goblin was way more psychological, I feel like Doc Ock was the pure, like, fuck this kid. I hate him.
I can see that. I think...
Especially, like, my favorite story in that whole thing was the Hollywood story arc where they're making a movie and Doc Ock kidnaps him and is just super pissed it's a kid.
Oh, yeah, that's
And he, like, rips out his teeth and stuff.
He did a really good job with Doc Ock in that, you're right.
Yeah. So that was kind of a bummer for me. And the other thing I didn't like that I was bummed about was they brought back Peter Parker.
Yeah, what the hell
was like, you should not have done that.
Well, I don't understand what that was. Like, why that happened.
I think that was an edict.
Did they ever explain how he came back? Oh, they said he couldn't die or something, right?
They said it was like he didn't die or some crap like that.
They didn't.
And Nick Fury tried to save him because he had that whole relationship with Nick Fury.
Okay,
I think they were trying to give him and Mary Jane a happy ending.
I haven't read any of the other Ultimate stuff at all, and I really want to. But for Ultimate Spider-Man, within that storyline, all they had written in was that he couldn't die. They didn't really explain how he survived. It was him and Green Goblin. All it said was they just couldn't die. And it had something to do with... the
Oz formula?
Yeah.
Okay.
But they didn't really go into why or how or...
Yeah.
So, but if you reread it, if you go back and look in those later issues, all they really flirt with is just, we can't die.
Yeah.
And then that they kind of alluded to Peter Parker in that way, but within that storyline, they didn't really go further into it.
Yeah, it was just like, he's back.
I felt kind of ripped off. I mean,
it cheapened a lot of it, and it cheapened a lot of.
Well, the fact that he came back.
Yeah.
And like in the Ultimate, I don't like. I feel like when someone dies, it has to count. And
Harry Osborn. That was a great story. The Hobgoblin thing where he fights his dad.
Yeah.
That was a great story.
Yeah.
And he died. And
he didn't come back, right?
He never came back.
Yeah. But they shouldn't.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that it's a business, so they have to bring him back to sell more books and everything.
I think at that time they had Amazing Spider-Man 2 coming out. I want to say it was movie correlated, and so they were trying to get like the tiny... Because that series didn't sell huge, especially by the time they relaunched it, the Miles Morales, the Ultimate Spider-Man series. It didn't sell huge, so I think they were trying to get a movie boost from it. But I
would have liked to have seen Miles Morales in the MCU.
Oh, they're gonna do a CGI film with him.
Really? Mm-hmm. That's cool. I kind of would have. They took. I didn't realize how much the Spider-Man from in the MCU is based on the Ultimate. Like before I'd read the Ultimate stuff, I saw that he had a friend in the previews. You know, the what's his name? Genki or something.
Yeah.
I was like, who the hell is this guy, right? And then someone told me like, oh, he's from the Ultimate storyline, and I started reading the Ultimate storyline. I'm like, oh my god, this is like this. And I saw the movie finally, and it's like very, very similar, right? But instead of Miles, they put Peter back in.
Yeah, and then instead of Genki, his name's Ned Leeds.
Was it?
Yeah.
I didn't catch that.
Which is weird, because that's like the main Marvel universe. That's the Hobgoblin's name.
I know, yeah.
So I thought that was such a weird... In my head, I was just like, no, he's Genki. Like,
I didn't catch that. Wow.
Yeah. And so, yeah, I thought that was a weird choice for them. I'm like, you can't tell me he's going to turn into the Hobgoblin at some point. I don't believe that. That's bullshit.
Probably not going to happen, though.
No.
So I was... It's like you put all of Ultimate, the Miles Morales stuff, and you're like, just put it just... At that point, it felt like this should be Miles Morales.
Yeah.
And I felt like just go that extra step. We don't need. I don't need. I like Miles Morales a lot now. Like after reading it, he's a great character.
The problem is he doesn't really have that relationship with Iron Man.
Yeah.
And that was kind of the key hinge of that, as to where Peter did have that relationship with Iron Man.
Even in the comics too.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Right. Yeah. All right.
Yeah. So. Have you got to read anything Miles Morales post Secret War?
No. Not at all, no.
Okay. You gotta.
What in particular? Anything you recommend?
Just start from...
Because he has his own book, right?
Yeah, it's just called Spider-Man.
Oh, okay, I've read it.
Let me see... Here we go. This is on the shop.
Oh, for real, dude?
Yeah.
That's crazy. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I will definitely be reading this.
Yeah, it's pretty good so far. And they're doing Spider-Man 2 right now. Did you read either of the Spider-Man series? Or the first
What do you mean?
Spider-Man? It was where when the Ultimate Universe was still a thing, Miles popped over and met Peter.
Into the 616 timeline?
Yeah.
I might have read that. I'm not sure.
It was all about Mysterio. Mysterio had figured out how to cross universes, and it turned out the Mysterio in the Ultimate U was the same Mysterio in the regular Marvel U.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's great.
So whenever they go after him and he was a dead robot body, it was because he was being operated by Mysterio on 616. Yeah.
That's great. No, I haven't read that at all.
Okay, yeah, that's it.
Right. I read not a whole lot. Usually, I have this issue where I fall asleep when I read. Mm-hmm. So I like to read comics and fall asleep when I actually want to go to sleep.
Yeah.
But right now, I've been reading what the hell is it called? Divinity.
Oh, I need to get into that.
It's cool. The first one was great. It's only a few issues, and then Divinity. I'm on Divinity 2, which is also really cool.
Okay.
But I'm not familiar with the Valiant universe at all.
The thing you need to check out is just a book called The Valiant.
Okay.
And it's their big event book.
That was a recent thing? Or no?
3 years ago, something like that. I think it was 2014. And Paulo Rivera draws it. And it's fantastic.
Right.
Jeff Lemire wrote it, and so did Matt Kent. They co-wrote it. And to me, that gave me all the building blocks I felt like I needed to go into that universe.
Oh, okay, cool.
And after that, I went into Bloodshot, and then I got into Ninjak because Lemire wrote Ninjak, and then Matt Kent wrote, Lemire wrote Bloodshot, Matt Kent wrote Ninjak.
Okay.
And they were both really, really well done.
I'm enjoying Divinity. It's really cool.
Yeah.
I mean, just from knowing nothing about the universe, it's just a cool storyline. The artwork's nice. The writing's really good. I'm loving it. So I definitely like to springboard into some other Valiant stuff.
Yeah, the guy that wrote that, he co-wrote the Valiant. So
right on.
Divinity, I haven't got to check out. It was one of those things I was probably going to wait until they finished with it, because right now they're doing 3, or they just finished 3.
Oh, is this all going on?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
It's called Divinity Stalinverse. So I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know how that flows into everything, but yeah.
No idea.
So.
Right on, dude. This has been fun.
Yes. Thank you very much.
Thank you.